If you are one of the millions of people planning to quit your job this year in the wave called the Great Resignation, this is the perfect video for you. I'm going to share the 5 or 6, I'm going to add a bonus, things that you must do before you quit your job. They are incredibly important to make sure that you don't regret your decision. I can talk from someone who's been exactly where you are and has had that internal debate, the back and forth of whether should I do this or should I not? What's going to happen if I make the move? Let me tell you. If you follow the steps in this video, you will come out on the other side way, way better than the situation that you're in right now, even if you are getting paid very well and you are in a comfortable job. I have actually spoken to like 2 national publications here in the UK this week where I talked about the Great Resignation, the impact on hustle culture, and what it actually means for your career as well, because we are going through a fantastic wave right now, and it may not feel like it for many people, but I feel like there's this big shift in the way that we're working that hopefully will come out on the other side of it a lot better. So if you're thinking of quitting your job, this channel is for you. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button right now, because all I do on this channel is share things to help you up level in your career so that you can live the type of life that you truly want. All right, I'm gonna get straight into it. The first thing I'm going to say is do not get caught up in the hype. I talk about this so much because it's so easy to daydream about rage quitting. I quit. And then coming out on the other side being like, damn, why did I do that? I can't get any referees. The job that I went into, I actually hate. It's not for me. And now I can't go back. Don't do that. Don't get caught up in the hype. Just because everyone is quitting their jobs doesn't mean that you have to do the same. So it's important for you to, first of all, assess your current situation. Do you actually need to resign and leave your current company entirely? What is it that's making you crave this change? Because ultimately, if you change your situation and you move on to something else, a different company or entrepreneurship or anything like that, the only constant is going to be you. And if you're the problem, if you're just not happy with the way your life is right now and it's something intrinsic as opposed to an external circumstance like your job or the fact that you're no longer interested in your industry, you are going to continue to have problems. So it's very, very, very important to assess your current situation, not only in order to determine whether quitting is the right move for you, but to see your starting point and to assess it objectively. I know so many people like to think, oh, I don't think I'm qualified enough. I'm gonna get into that later on in this video, but stop that kind of thinking. Right now, I want you to be completely objective. Where do I stand? What is my education? What's my experience? What can I bring to the table in a completely different field if that's what I wanna do? Just be completely objective and just lay it out there, because there are other things that you can do outside of quitting your job. So for example, you could negotiate a promotion that would give you the kind of challenge that you want, whether that's managing a team, getting exposure to different types of clients, things like that. You could also negotiate a shift into a different department because it could allow you to hone different types of skills. So for example, you might say you want to move from a legal role, kind of like me, and you want to move more into the project management space because that will give you, the opportunity to try something new for a time, to actually test out whether you like it or not, and then you could make it into something a bit more permanent. So for me, for example, I was very keen on secondments, not just internally, but moving to our clients' offices. So I was a banking lawyer and I worked at a bank for nearly a year as well. And that helped me to realize that actually I prefer being on the more business, commercial side of things. People are a lot more dynamic. It allowed me to kind of get a bit more exposure to the tech side of things, so that when I finally decided it was time for me to leave my legal role, I'd already built this networks in a different space. I tested out the other career trajectory I was thinking about and decided, yeah, this is for me. And I was able to confidently move into that transition. I talk about all the alternative career opportunities that are available for you in a masterclass that I created, which is linked below this video. And we talk about the fact that when you are a mid-career professional in particular, and you have some experience in your field, you can have that confidence to resign. A lot of the things that are holding you back are all up here. There are so many options, but if you don't assess where you stand right now and from a detached perspective, think objectively about the opportunities that are available for you, you're going to find yourself remaining stuck exactly where you are and watching everyone else ride that wave. The next thing you should do before you quit your job, if you've decided that's what you want to do, is to get your mind right. Because the hardest thing for many people, including me, is that analysis paralysis, that back and forth. Is this the right decision? Blah, blah, blah. Because what's happening then is like you're fear impulses are taking over and stopping you from taking action and being able to really do that evaluation that I just talked about in terms of assessing your current situation objectively and also the market. There's a massive reason why people are resigning right now, because it's a big talent market. And I can say this because of exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm helping companies to create technology that allows them to keep their employees a lot more engaged, that allows them to work with people remotely. And this is not just a passion of mine from, the career coaching and stuff that I do, but I can tell from being in industry that this is a real wave that's happening. And the question is, are you going to allow yourself to ride and go with the flow, or are you going to just talk yourself out of the blessings that are really waiting for you? So it's important for you to get your mind right. Don't let fear, don't let uncertainty and stuff keep you trapped where you are, because the world's going to move on and you're going to wake up one day wondering, oh my God, why did I not do that? And now I regret it, right? So it's incredibly important to know what your life goals are, the type of life that you want to lead. Look at where you're currently working. Look at what you're currently doing. Is it in alignment with that? If it's not, then that is your cue that it's time for you to quit. But before you do that, this brings me nicely onto the next point, where you must plan. Not only do you need to have a solid career transition plan, but you also need to have a financial plan. And I say this in my Nigerian accent because it's just, I cannot even hide it. You need to make sure you have a strong financial plan that not just covers your FU fund, but also your emergency fund as well. If you are happy in your job, still get a financial plan, because anything could happen. Just the way there's so much opportunity right now, there's also a lot of compulsory redundancies and stuff. As companies are streamlining their business, they've realized that a lot of the work can be done remotely. So as happy as everyone is that, I can work from home, companies are also seeing the same thing about the fact that they don't need some of the roles that they had available anymore. So for example, I was reading an article last week where the airline industry are expecting further billions of losses this year and going forward, because companies have changed the way they do business meetings. They have now finally accepted that most things can be done remotely. So all of those regular business class flights that I used to enjoy, I no longer can have them. But seriously, the point is that airlines are having to adapt, and that's meant that so many pilots, for example, are losing their jobs. I have friends whose partners were pilots for some of these leading airline companies. I was about to say names, but I don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, so those pilots now, their job security is not what it used to be before, but they were one of the highest paid professions. So if you don't have a solid financial plan, it is very likely that you might find yourself out in the lurch. What I try to do for my clients is that I try and guide them through career transitions that doesn't involve them taking a pay cut, because I am all about earning that 6 figures and more, especially if you have the experience. So if you're changing fields, if you're changing industries, I want you to either be at the same level or earning a lot more. But realistically, this is not the case for everybody, right? So you might say, I want to move from corporate to working in the creative industry, and your field in particular only gets paid, 60, 70K. If you know that you're going to be happy with that transition and we help you make this decision, then yeah, that's fine. But realistically, if you were earning 200K before and you're now moving to 50, you want to make sure that before you quit that job, you know what your baseline expenses are, you know what your financial targets are. So for example, if you wanted to buy a new house, you want to make sure that your mortgage assessment is done based on your previous salary as opposed to your current salary or the salary that you're going to be moving into. These are very simple things that a lot of people miss, and they're like, I'm just going to quit my job. But yes, you have to do this in a very, very considered way. Otherwise, your transition could end up being a financial disaster, and no one wants that. So once you have your financial plan down, the next thing before you quit, so many people forget this, is that you need to document your achievements. Go through your emails, what you're actually meant to be doing every single month or quite regularly in your job is assessing what you've done and noting the highlight achievements, noting what happened, noting the difficult situations where you helped the company triumph, whether it was negotiating something with a client or making some systems a lot more efficient and stuff, because all of these things are part of your ammo for whatever job you choose to do next, right? And that's why in my program, we teach our clients to build something called a master resume, and it's It's like a list of all of your achievements in your job that can actually run to like 10 pages, but it doesn't actually take that much time to do because you're updating this regularly as you are in your current position. And then you pick and choose for whatever new role you are going to be interviewing for. It's also great leverage for your negotiation if you want a promotion, if you want to negotiate a higher pay, because then you can directly point to the stuff that you did in your current role that is relevant for the opportunities that you're going for. Please, please, please document your achievements, because say you wanted to quit your job and take a few months out to travel and stuff, which is what I did. If you haven't done this process before you quit, you're going to forget so many things, right? So I found myself before I left my last job just going through my old emails, going through some of the significant deals that I did, recalling what I achieved in those roles, documenting them, documenting those client contacts and email addresses as well, because sometimes you might want them to be your referees instead of your previous employers, or to basically like enhance your application, right? You always want to make sure that when you leave a role, you have a solid document that covers all of the key things that you did there, and also a document that keeps track of your client contacts. Don't forget this. This is incredibly important. That also kind of leads on to the next thing that you should do, which is level up your personal brand while you are actually on the job. This can still be done after you've quit, but the benefit of doing this while you still have a job is that you are setting up your personal marketing, which for most people is via LinkedIn, to really align you with the types of opportunities that you want and attract the attention of recruiters. This is so important. I feel like unless you want to take a break between jobs, if you want to be scoped out and if you want companies to approach you, you need to make sure that your own LinkedIn SEO is on point, and that when people land on your profile, even if you don't have direct experience for the new industry that you're looking to move to, let's say for example you're switching fields entirely, that people are still finding your profile when they're searching. And it goes without saying that you should also be working on your resume, your CV. I've talked about that in the last point, but it's incredibly crucial. So the other thing I was going to say as well, which lots of people leave out of the conversation about I quit my job or this is why you should quit your job, is the importance of leaving on good terms. Look, if a company is trying to screw you over the whole time you were there, you owe them nothing. You can get up and go as long as they won't come after you, right? If you are contractually obliged to serve a notice period, do that. Keep it as it is. But if a company has been good and you just want like a change of lifestyle, a change of industry, change of profession, something more, maybe higher pay or whatever, and you're moving for that reason, it's important for you to still leave with your head held high and keeping your relationships intact, because you never know where people are going to end up. And you always, or many people forget, that you need references. There is nothing worse than reaching out to a company and asking for a reference about someone and you get a dead response back. I know that for me, when I worked in my old law firm and even the ones before that, they never really give detailed references because they don't want to get sued or whatever. But on the side, the partner will be like, oh, she was awesome, like she did this, blah, blah, blah. They will do that off record. But if you want an excellent reference, especially in the US where people expect a bit more detail when they contact your company for references, then you need to make sure that you are leaving your current company in good standing with those people and that you know who you're going to ask. So all of these things that I've discussed are crucial for you to make your own resignation a success. But I can't emphasize how much your mindset is such a big thing for this, because you want to be stepping into your next role or opportunity in a position of power, as opposed to being held back by imposter syndrome and fear and all of that. Because I've said this and I continue to say this many, many times. There are so many people, especially high achievers like you, who have made successful career transitions even before this great resignation happened, right? And actually now that there's this thing going on, it's the perfect setting to do it. So don't hold yourself back. There is an opportunity for you to speak to me directly if you want my help and you want me to work with you to navigate this process. It's a very limited time opportunity. We can hop on a call and help you map out your own career transition strategy and how we can help you get there on my Career Game Changer program. But you really just need to stop overthinking it and just get to work. Set yourself that deadline, because like I said, what is waiting for you on the other side is way beyond what you can imagine. And actually, why do you want to be limited by your imagination? Why don't you dream big and see what greatness you can actually achieve, instead of allowing yourself to get stuck and chained by what you're currently doing. So if you guys have enjoyed this video, please do like, share your comments, share your thoughts. And if you're part of that great resignation, what made you actually do it? Comment below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.